Hello everyone, welcome to the Social Blueprint Everybody Has a Story series. Before we commence, I just want to remind you to go to our calendar of events and many resources available at socialblueprint.org.au. So today we have Nina here, Nina from Goldstone Gallery in Collingwood. In case you haven't heard of it, it is well worth a visit. Welcome, Nina.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to have you here today. I myself have been to the gallery, so I was very impressed and very excited to be interviewing you. Now,
So good.
where were you born?
I was born in Georgia, former USSR.
Yes.
And I was a refugee, I guess you could call it, to Russia when there was civil war. We ran away as a family after the Soviet breakdown. There was like terrible living conditions, civil war, and nothing to eat, and no electricity, earthquakes. There was all sorts of things happening, unfortunately. And so, for a better life, so that I could get education and safety, ended up living in Moscow for 8 years on and off, and migrated to Australia when I was 20, turning 21. So all my adult life I spent in Australia, basically.
Yes, but at that age, you would definitely have memories of what you went through.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So when you came here, you'd already done high school, what I imagine. So what happened when you came to Australia?
When I have few lives, I guess. I was a book illustrator and designer, so I have established quite a successful business as a book illustrator, and I produced about 150 books as an illustrator. I'm famous in Papua New Guinea. That's my joke, but it's true. I'm a specialist in Papua New Guinea sort of culture, and I traveled there a lot and produced, but also made a lot of books for Australia. Those would be educational books and readers, and South Pacific across the region, and a lot of school books here. So that's my starting point for, I guess, 12 years. I was more than that, 15 years. I was very busy and establishing myself and having a real job. Then I also did theatre stage design as my always side interest, and I did quite well. There was awards and things, fringe, but theatre. And then eventually I felt like I grew out of being an illustrator, always kind of working on commission for other people's books and ideas. I was an author for a few projects, but not too much of that. And I felt that there was something else in me. So I went back to study in 2009. I even though I was mature, I was 33. I started from scratch. I went to undergrad in Victorian College of the Arts, and I went to painting department because I didn't know what I wanted, what kind of artist I was, and I wanted to forget everything I knew. In terms of like I could draw and I had many skills. I have many skills as an artist, but I wanted to forget all the skills, to strip it back and be like a beginner in the arts, and to really start again to discover what is my really authentic voice as an artist, not relying on skills and things that I can draw, I can do portraits, I can do this. And so I discovered pretty soon that I'm a sculptor, not a painter. So that was always a challenge because, make sculptures in the painting department, really big sculptures too. So that's my journey. And I do use variety of mediums. I do draw and sometimes even film, sometimes photographs, anything that I feel is poignant. To poignant material to the story I need to tell. I guess my work is described as conceptual art dressed in classical form. I often use traditional kind of visual way of telling the story, but the concept behind it, the storytelling, is the key for everything I do. And it took me 11 years to finish my degree. So because I had children in between, I'm a mother. So from 2009, I finished in 2020. But meanwhile, in 2017, when children became a bit older, I kept making books at the same time, still working, raising children. And then I thought, well, I should give up on the idea that I can never go back to Victorian College of the Arts because it was just too much as a parent. But change of events and things that were happening in the world, I felt real urgency to respond as an artist, and I started making work.
So you've had some amazing support from a collective of artists. How did that work for you?
Yes, so when I was emerging as an artist, out of the being book illustrator, transitioning to being fine artist, it was the support of the collective that I was part of that really helped me get through. I think it's really hard to become an artist, and so it inspired me so much that eventually I have created a festival of collectives, which was an outcome of my studio residency at the Gertrude Contemporary, which is this prestigious studio space and gallery. And so I actually gave up my solo show there to platform a collective that supported me. And then I thought, well, I might as well showcase other collectives that do this amazing work. And so it ended up being 10 international collectives across 7 spaces in Melbourne. That was September and October 2023, when brings me to the space where, I guess I was at the height of my career, about to have a big retrospective show at the National Gallery of Victoria. And
just of your works?
Yes, that was going to be just of my sculptures. So I guess my practice has 2 sides. People know my sculptures and my artworks. This is something easy you can see, but also behind the scenes I do a lot of social practice, so-called. It's called social practice, when you do work for the community, with the community, to nurture the structure of the arts, and you work with the people. I also do work with communities who are not artists. That's to bring people in. So for example, a lot of my work is about public art, and people don't understand public art. It's like this things that people don't even notice in public spaces. So what I have been doing a lot is bringing communities to activate and activate the sculptures, public art and public space. And so, that has been one of my objectives, to work with people, to bring them into the art, but also work with artists to make art more accessible and make artists more supportive of each other, because I always felt that the art world was too competitive and a difficult space to survive for artists who are already quite often sensitive people, and there is no need to be that competitive in a place where you virtually never make any money, and it's not like we're there because we love art. Yes. And this is our way of expressing, so they just support each other in this difficult space of art making. And that's what I thought, and I was nurtured by a collective of female artists, and I wanted to give back and support and celebrate collectives as a way of, really fantastic way of functioning in the art world and surviving that system and thriving and bringing it better to the world. As a I guess for me, collective is like a model for peace building and for cohesion in society. If artists can get on in the art world, then the world can get on as well. But this is obviously brings me to October 7 and post-October 7 world, where at the height of, where I brought these 10 collectives, and there was the celebrations of artists supporting artists.
What happened?
And we had over 60 artists in part of this festival. What happened that I spoke out on October 8. I spoke out against the atrocities of Hamas, and I was grieving and as a Jewish creative, and so I was really quite viciously attacked. And
how did you speak out? Sorry, did you just have a conversation with a few artists,
social,
or did
social
you
media?
Okay.
Social media, I
right?
think. And so post went out very soon after, which I wasn't aware straight away, that we have a snake in the community, they said, because the status quo in the arts is that you're supposed to always condemn Hamas, and also status quo in the community is that you're always supposed to condemn Israel.
Yes.
And that you're supposed to never speak out about October 7 atrocities, and continues, virtually supporting Hamas is what happens. I haven't seen anyone in the art world speaking up against about 7 October or Hamas. Instead, within a week or two, often next day, the Palestinian flags went up. Like, that was a thing to do. Then our Peabody, by the end of October, Peabody made big announcements, and after that it was just all out, everyone sort of out. And so quite quickly they saw that they worked me out, and that I was needing to be deplatformed as a Zionist, genocidal and Nazi, every word that I was called. And so it was a big fall from the being part of the community and working with the community. Always a lot of volunteer work that I did. That festival was all volunteer work that I single-handedly put together, a huge project. But as much as I was then celebrated as part of the community, it was really quick fall from having to realize that I wasn't a recluse. I was really actively kind of interacting with so many people, and then to be completely isolated and vilified, that was a really big contrast in my life. And then I turned to the Jewish Creatives WhatsApp group, and as means of understanding what's happening to other Jewish creatives.
Yes.
And for support. And as we know, what happened, that the chat group was leaked by January, and people were doxxed, meaning that there was a really vicious campaign circulated, and particularly I was one of the chosen ones to be for a particular vicious targeted campaign. We made multiple posts and targeting places where I was, where I had the studio, where gallery represented me. They targeted National Gallery Victoria and all the places where I was exhibiting at the time. So basically that led to me losing everything. And
how did they write that to you? How did the galleries communicate to you that they no longer wanted to exhibit you?
Because differently, it was very ugly.
Okay.
There is no good way, because I continued to ask that we sit down. I kept believing that, given that we were all friends and had really great relationship just before.
Yes.
And that I'm known in the community and have a reputation as somebody who, brings people together just for the community. I think I mainly had a good reputation. So then to vilify me like that, because I'm Jewish, because I, spoke against Hamas, and because I was in the Jewish WhatsApp group. What a crime, So
So did they let you go by just saying, could you please remove your artworks from us?
No, they were attacked so viciously themselves that they could not work. So organizations where I had a studio, the doors were graffitied with Zara dog, that they were stickered. They were getting letters. So there were members of staff, artists, and outside community, art world community, and just general public who were in that campaign. They were viciously emailing them to the point where they could not function as an organization. And so they said they're breaking down from within just because I'm part of it. that they could not work because they had to shut down their social media. There was an amount of messages that they could not respond to, and they have to just keep deleting the really nasty, hateful messages. The amount of letters they received, that they would have to cancel most of their shows moving forward until I'm dropped, because the other artists would not be wanting to exhibit with them or would not. In fact, one artist walked away. Within a month, she said, I will not be next to Zionist. And she was my neighbor, a new neighbor who I didn't know personally at all, but it was just because it was not a personal thing, but it was a political stand for her. And following that, a lot of artists wanted to support her. And so it was like a real campaign to cancel me. It was very targeted, and so similarly my commercial gallery was attacked, and she, being quite, commercial galleries are small businesses, she could not actually withstand. Her business would not survive if she continued to present me. Her artists threatened to drop her and leave. So the people would not come, and then she could have been attacked at the openings of the other artists' events, so that she could not afford that. So she said that she couldn't protect me, and I said, well, now you know what it feels like to be Jewish, and
so did any of those artists reach out to you privately and say, I am so sorry that we had to drop you, right? Because we couldn't sustain that. We would have lost our business.
Yeah.
But did they maintain a friendship with you under the table? Then you did so much for the arts community.
No, it's not. It's not something that. I lost so many friends, and that like a lot of the Jewish people have. I think there is a combination that people eventually really believe their actions, so they really genuinely started to believe that was the social justice call to drop me and not to see me. Some of them wrote continuously letters that, oh, they're so sorry for me, but yet do I support genocide, and so it was like that. So I have continued having conversations with many people and trying to, it was possible to have a conversation and discussion, and I really pursued that first couple of months, where people who felt they wanted to know more and continue, rather than cancel me straight out, having a conversation. So I would respond always, and that, but eventually I think it become, I think there are 3 stages of cancellation that I have discovered through my own experience. Is the first one is harassment, and like really vicious attacks, hate mail, right, all there publicly, unashamedly. They'll just go for you. Things they'll never do to you in person, they will do everything online, for example. And then it translates, whatever is online translates to your life. Of course, it's not just online hate, has real consequences, very real. But
the second one?
The second
you
one,
said 3 stages.
Yes, 3 stages. The second one is, what did I forget? So the bullying, there is bullying and harassment. Second one is when the actual cancellation takes place in physical world, when you lose your opportunities, your work, you become isolated and all that. And the third one, when they decide to just withdraw all air and you isolate, you basically no contact, no mention. And that's sort of part of the cancellation that I find that translates now to even media, like the media outlets that used to cover my work and all that consistently, they will not even respond, and they do not want to deal with Jews, Zionists, and so there is the way you deal with that is have zero contact and full silence. So I think that even whatever I do, now that I have October 7th show, there is no reaction to it.
Yes.
They just total silence, you don't exist, and that's how you deal. So the harassment, kind of really outwardly harassment, stopped after 1.5 years, and there is just full sort of silence, harassment, isolation, erasure. These are the 3 stages.
So you just mentioned on October 7th, exhibition. That brings us to now. Okay, I'm very sorry, by the way, that all happened. So now, Goldstone Gallery. You're running it?
So
How did that come about?
now I become a curator as well as an artist, and it is from the need of creating a space and to stand up. I was offered a space where I could exhibit myself, to continue exhibiting after my big show at the National Gallery of Victoria, which was sort of shadow banned, and a lot of people didn't know it was there, and just really went under the radar. People who discovered it by accident, just walking in, that's how kind of people knew, or just friends who cared and spread the word. But then I'm quite a prolific as artist. I often have many exhibitions a year previously, and so somebody reached out and said, we have an empty space in Collingwood, would you like to exhibit your work there so that you continue exhibiting and not being silenced? And I thought it was at this stage in December, Adass synagogue was firebombed, and I haven't spoken up about my story because it took me over a year to come out publicly about my story, because basically I didn't want to be attacked, and the show at the National Gallery, I didn't want to be shut down. If I spoke too much, then there would be protests coming to the gallery. And
so they did keep your exhibition, did they?
So the exhibition went ahead. I was offered to postpone it, but the exhibition went ahead. I thought it was really important because the works that I have in the exhibition, they speak exactly to that moment. Not only I had a huge one-room installation about Holocaust, which about my own family, but other works that talk about totalitarian regime, that talk about censorship, that talk about basically based on my Soviet experience and my family experience and what I grew up with. I think about war and about society, upheavals in society, that what we experience now. That is all in my work. So I had to put it out as an artist quite urgently, and people actually responded. People didn't know from any political point. The work not political. It just spoke to the historic moments and histories that speaks to any political persuasion person. And so people responded and wrote articles without knowing who I was, and that was really important. So I preferred that my art spoke while it could in such really public, big, prestigious space.
Very prestigious.
Yeah, it's quite rare for an artist to receive, I had 5 spaces filled with my sculptures. They're a very big show. And I'm quite early in my career, so it was pretty fast, my rise, I guess, from when I sort of really started in a big way making, still second-year student.
Wow.
I started, but my work, because I'm older, I already knew suddenly things clicked into place. So I started to make big works. And so a lot of my works that was at National Gallery Victoria were my second and third-year student works, but they were not like student works, obviously.
So did the person who offered you Goldstone Gallery property in Collingwood, did they see you at the NGV, or did they already know you?
They watched what happened to me through cancellation. That's how they found out. They're from another state, and then wanted to just support me. And they knew that the exhibition at the National Gallery was about to launch. So they've seen the whole process of what was happening to me, and they just wanted to support me. And so they did see my show as well. And so at the time when I started to realize that I really need to urgently speak out and write about it, which was the article a lot of people read and then come forward to support me, because my tell-all article in the Australian, I did send it to the Guardian first, and they said, when I sent the article in December of 2024, the Adass synagogue was just firebombed, and it was coincidental. And then they responded to me. Their response was along the line that they already have covered too many Jewish topics, and so they didn't want to tell my story. And I had to send it I did send it to the Australian, because it's a go-to space where the Jewish narratives are presented, but you want to talk to everyone. So I did try consistently across the media. And you have no idea how many people who were still my friends in the arts said, we're not going to read your article because it's written in the Australian. We do not buy this paper. We will not read your story because it's published in the Australian. I said, good luck. This is the only outlet that would speak for me. So, but if you don't want to read it, that's fine. I think it was a combination of feeling like we're getting to the point where I need to do something as well as an artist who consistently spoke to political history and social history. And through what happened to me, it was my call to do something about it through art again and through social projects, which was to establish the gallery. So I told these people who collaborated with me to open this Goldstone Gallery that it needs to be a space for other Jewish artists as well and Jewish narratives, but also other silence artists. So Goldstone Gallery has presented work of Chinese and Russian artists that these are the narratives that are real dissident narratives. And so the Jewish artists have become dissidents, which is not what the world would want you to think, but the real dissidents are the ones who actually right now are not getting any voice, as we know historically, and these are the Jewish artists.
Yes. So the gallery, first of all, I think the people who own the property are very brave.
Very brave.
Very brave, and I commend them.
Yes.
Second of all, the gallery itself has lots of different little rooms with different exhibitions. How can you tell us about those?
So now we have we have 7 spaces right now for October 7, but sometimes it would be a show. We have 3 or 4 artists presented. Sometimes it would be a show of 1 artist across all spaces, depending. So we had the first show was about Alexei Navalny by a Jewish photographer. It was first exhibition of like really major photography artists, and it was extremely popular show. It was 1 year anniversary of his murder, and I thought it was really important to tell that story, of that dissident story. Then I had the first show of the Holocaust survivor, Olga Horek. A lot of the shows we have are first ever solo shows of people who actually should have had really big shows by now, And so Olga Horek was her posthumous show, and we presented 140 works across all spaces, floor to ceiling. It was overflowing with the lifetime of her incredible work. So there was a big discovery, not only for the Jewish community, for the Holocaust storytelling, but also for the Australian art world to discover this incredible female artist of 20th century. And her works are bright and vibrant, and it was really interesting to know her horrific story and how she then came out with that resilience and vibrancy to keep giving generously through her, colorful works. And what she did, she was a fashion icon. She had a fashion shop. And so we had the exhibition of an Australian female artist who never gets opportunities, who's the most accomplished artist. And because, as I said, you need a certain push in the art world, and she's just not that competitive person, just quietly sits and paints. So that was her first solo show. It was incredible work of Sarah Mottram. And we had Badiokao, a Chinese artist who is incredibly outspoken against crimes that committed in China and horrific things. He doesn't get platformed in Australia, but he gets museum shows elsewhere, but not in Australia, because a lot of galleries are scared or not prepared to platform. It's considered racist if you speak up against China's political situation and the government, where it's like, how is that racist? He's not talking about Chinese people, he's talking about the Chinese government. So he's a very political artist, Badiokao, but we also had a number of Jewish narratives, and that brings me to October 7th show, which is the most important show for me that gallery so far has created. And what I understood the role, not only it's by cancelled artists, for cancelled artists and Jewish artists and other narratives that are silenced, but what I understand that Goldstone Gallery speaks to the space that there is a void to speaking openly and directly to the anti-Semitism in post-7 October world. And it's difficult for established spaces and museums to speak to that
Yes.
New phenomena in a way.
Yes.
But it has become like as easy for me and what I want to do to speak about anti-Semitism. And so October 7 is that show. It's again not political. It's, to me, I've had people who are from any political leaning come, Jewish people and not Jewish people, come and saying that is incredible, and it's not a political thing. We're witnessing there in that exhibition personal stories of people like Maya Puda, is 25-year-old who was murdered at Nova Festival. We'll learn about her and other young people. We'll learn about Haim Perry. He's an incredible peace builder who wanted to build a bridge from the gallery, his gallery. He had on the border of Gaza, a gallery. He wanted to build a bridge to Gaza. People like that, and Tamar Simantov, who was murdered with her whole family. So these are really personal stories of incredible people and what happened to them on October 7. We do also have a few rooms dedicated to anti-Semitism that we have experienced in Australia post-October 7. One of the rooms is about Adas, so I have rescued remnants. When it burned, I went and I collected objects from the synagogue, and so these become materials for sculpture for me, and installation that I used as evidence, so to tell story about the hate and anti-Semitism here in Australia. We need to keep this as museum pieces. So everything in this exhibition, while it's artist response, is very documentary based.
Yes.
It's a documentary films, virtual reality films, sculptural pieces, but we also have books and documents that recount about sexual violence on October 7. It's not gore, and it's not really upsetting in a way that confronting. We don't have any violence in your eyes, but it's more through storytelling and compassionate storytelling about individuals who have, and also about survivors, and a little bit about hostages. And so it's important also for me that the galleries in the northern suburbs, where there are not many Jewish stories told, not many Jewish organizations, so there's no galleries, so we're the only gallery that openly talks about it in the northern suburbs. And so we have walk-ins from the street, and that's important, who didn't know, discoveries, but also others, and also kind of saying, I will not be in a ghetto. I'm here. Where the gallery is in a suburb of galleries. It's a golden mile of galleries. Every 20 meters you go, it's a gallery, and some of them, the ones who cancelled me, are right there. And so I went back and opened the gallery where I was cancelled to continue exhibiting and to continue telling stories, and in particular October 7, where it started 2 years on. I'm back full circle 2 years on to go and continue speaking about October 7, and I will not shut up.
Well done, well done. Now, for those of you who haven't visited Goldstone Gallery, it is, when you walk in, it's unassuming. It's next door to Ms. Non, and you walk in and it's a combination of art exhibits. Some are film. We discussed it, that if you were going to sit and watch every film at Goldstone Gallery, it's going to be about 2.5 hours, exactly. I think we worked out. So you're not necessarily going to watch all of the movies available, but there's a lot. And then there's visual, there's paintings, there's photos, there's things, what do you call your wall? Installations.
We have 16 poets and 11 artists presented.
And there's books, VR.
There's library, virtual reality films. It's a proper museum-like show with 7 rooms. You can spend hours, and also I'm there and volunteers are there to guide you through, to talk you through. And also we do tours. I can do, if you want to bring a group, I'm going to talk to you and tell you about everything and explain, but also you need time to spend to watch some of the films at least. It's an incredible, 3 of the films are brand new. So they're films by all the films there are by Danny Ben Moshe, Melbourne-based, incredible Walkley Award-winning director. And so 2 of the films are new he made for this exhibition from the trip in September, just very, very fresh. One is from the Nova side and one is from Kibbutz Niros, that gallery that tells the story of what happened within the families of the victims. And yeah, they're really powerful and strong. Everyone should see it. And
does it cost to get in?
It's free. And you don't need a booking, just turn up.
Is it 7 days?
So 5 days a week, 12 till 6.
Which days?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday, 12 till 6. We're there and it's free. You don't need to book, just turn up. But if it's a really big group, it's better to book. Yeah.
And out of curiosity, how does your family manage it? Because you have children, you have a partner.
Yeah.
How have you managed to do all of this?
I don't know. That's me. That's me. I always have managed to do many balls in the air, like many people do. But my children are a bit older, and I'm really lucky. I was a full-time mom for first 7 years of their life, and I feel like now I need to do what I need to do, and I'll come home. My son learned to cook.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, because I haven't had time. I used to do a lot of cooking, but I haven't had time. And I'll turn up and my 13-year-old son say, "Well, Mom, I cooked dinner." So there you go. Well, it takes a village to put together October 7th show, including my family being that supportive.
Yes, wonderful. All right, look, thank you so much for coming in today, Nina. We really appreciate it. This is a magnificent story to tell, and we hope that everyone will get behind Goldstone Gallery in Collingwood. I highly recommend it myself, and thank you for all the work you've done, and I'm really sorry for what you've been through.
Thank you.
But everyone, if you've enjoyed this video, please tell others, share the link, and go to socialblueprint.org.au to have a look at all the events on our calendar and all the resources. You will be very pleasantly surprised at what we've gathered together for you. All the best.